What are the odds? Come on, get real. So, that's why I like being facetious, because we live in the 21st century, and it should be very apparent to us that, okay, look, these guys keep shooting themselves in their foot. And when I say that, I mean the organized Christian church keep shooting themselves in the foot with these ideas when these ideas should have been put to sleep a long time ago. It's just, it's like saying, okay, God, you're only limited to do this much. I mean, who are you to tell God, to tell Creator, creative force, Creator? Like, think about that concept for a minute. 100 billion galaxies, Creator, one giant Creator. One giant system, 100 billion galaxies, one giant system, and the intelligence and life force behind all of that. And you're telling that thing, whatever the heck that thing is, really, whatever God really is, you're telling that thing that it can't possibly be outside the guidelines of what you say. And then you torture people with that. Idiots. Idiots, idiots, idiots. So, on that note, before I explain this to you, I'm going to say this. Pastors, clergy people, I hope you took your medications today. If you're listening to this, I hope you took your medications today, because you might have apoplexy. I'm going to explain something that was explained on the History Channel, explained in many other places, something I came across in 1981, and that is that here's the possible journeys of Jesus Christ when he leaves the area and disappears for like 17, 18 years. That's a long time in a person's life. So he disappears and doesn't show back up. When he does show back up, excuse me, when he does show back up, he has these powers and these abilities to manipulate materials at the core level of their molecules. He has the ability to manipulate paradigms. He has the ability to knock out diseases. He has the ability to mend bones. He has the ability to do all kinds of stuff you read in the Bible, which is mystical stuff, by the way. Mystical stuff. Oh no, not mystical stuff. Run for your lives. But yes, it's mystical stuff. Mystical stuff. That one was a slight to the Baptist, by the way. Now, before we get into the possibility of his journeys, now, do I know this as factual? No. Do I believe it happened? Yes, I believe it happened. Part of the reason I believe it happened is because I took a long journey into what we could consider internal. In my case, it was internal Kung Fu, but these are practices that create some very, very strange things going on and give you abilities that humans are born with the potential to use but don't know they're born with them. So, do I believe all this stuff? Yes. Can I say it's factual? No, not really. I cannot say it's factual. Neither can anyone else. So, on that note, we can't really say, well, this is factual, 100% proof this really happened. No, we can't really say that. But do I believe that's the case? Yes, I do believe it's the case. And my life is enough evidence for me. My own personal life, my own personal experience is enough evidence for me to believe that. Now, before we get into that phase of the life, the possible life of Jesus, let me give you an opinion, and this is my personal opinion of why he had to leave, or why it was time for him to actually leave, and why it got activated in his mind and in his body and in his four components. Like God activated that aspect of him and said, okay, well, it's time to get on with the business at hand of doing what you're on earth to do, when he's 12 years old. See, in that culture and in those days, that culture's based on family. That culture's based on children. that culture is based on, okay, when you bar mitzvah, it's like time to change life. We're starting to look at you as, okay, you've lived this long, you made it, you survived. That means you'll probably be an old man, and you need a family. That's who these people are. That's how this culture worked. And so, you will see in all of the ancient cultures like that, especially in Judaic culture, they marry very early and they have children very early because, a lot of children died back in those days. That's just sort of the way it was. So they had these big, huge families, and they were agricultural societies, and they, did herding and this and that, and that's how they lived. So had Jesus not been activated to go about his Father's business, to quote him, he would have gotten caught up in all of the culture of that time. There would be no way out of it. And, I don't think really anybody minds. I mean, once your body starts getting activated, the hormones kick in, it's like, yeah, I can use a wife. Oh, yes, this is going to be fantastic. Yeah. And everyone knows what I mean here. So, all of that stuff got circumvented because God steps in and says, okay, I'm now activating this part of you because, he has a human part, but then he's a hybrid. He also has a divine part. And the divine part said, okay, well, I'm superseding the human part because we've got to go do some bizarre stuff, what we would think of as bizarre stuff. And so, this is how it is. And the realization dawned on him. That's why that's why I made such a big deal about how poignant the reply was when Jesus says to his mom, when he's lost, and she finally finds him in the temple with these learned men. Hey, and then reads him the riot act, and he says, hey, I must be about my Father's business. Now, because Mary was Mary, she understood what was going on. So, she just understood, hey, this is the way it is. This is real life on earth, not this fairy tale life that all of these other people think it is. This is the real life on earth. And me and my son are part of it. So I get it. I don't like it. I don't like it in the slightest. But I know it will be okay because this is the divine realm acting on the earth. So whatever happens, it'll be okay. It will be fine. So that's my suspicion as to why all of this took this kind of timing that it did, and why it activated then. Because when you look at the culture and you look at the bar mitzvah and what all that's really about and all of that stuff, and then you look at the ancient culture and find out, man, these people marry off so early. I mean, to us, it's freakishly early. It's like, what is a 12 or 13-year-old kid? In this society, it's literally like some dumb schmo, 12 or 13. I mean, you don't even know how to do anything. I mean, 12 or 13, you can operate a computer and all that, but what do you know about real life and interacting with people? Nothing. But we're not talking about a regular guy. We're talking about Jesus. Jesus had human genetics, yeah, but mingled in the human genetics, mingled in that encoding was whatever the other part of that insemination was that went into Mary to birth Jesus. That was also an aspect of who he was. Don't forget, Jesus Christ, just like the rest of the universe, just like every single one of us has 4 components to us. And each component vibrates at a certain frequency. Okay, I've said this over and over, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over. Those things are big things to understand. So when you say, okay, well, here's a deeper look at Jesus, please keep the 4 components in mind because it's a big deal. Now, before this segment gets too long and I have to cut it off, let me say this. In the next section, we're going to look at the possible journey of Jesus Christ on this planet, his sojourns for those 17, 18 years, till he shows up again. The next time we see him in this setting, which is, okay, I'm with my mom and we're doing stuff, Jewish stuff. The next time we see him, he's like 29, 30 years old, and he's at a wedding, and this is when he turns water into wine. Now, if that is not molecular manipulation, I don't know what is. This is manipulating things at the cellular level. We start to see case after case after case after case after case of this. And this is all eyewitness accounts, okay? So when you consider that all of these are eyewitness accounts and all of these people knew what was going on and were freaking out about it, and he later got mobbed and they were like, oh, fix me, heal me, do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, it's almost like he got so famous he had to escape from time to time just to recover from all that kind of stuff. We can pretty much believe this. At least I do believe it. Let me put it to you that way. And obviously the hundreds of billions of people on this, I mean hundreds of billions, what the heck am I saying? Strike that from the record. Let it be known I have misspoke. The billions of people that say, yeah, I'm Christian, they also believe it. Okay, so understand that. Because they understand, hey, these are eyewitness accounts. They understand that just like I understand it. So we're going to bring this to a close. Now, when we come back in section section I, we're going to look at this story that I came across that I was talking about the possible sojourns of Jesus Christ. And I'm going to put a bunch of things together for you that you have never heard before, and I'm going to put a bunch of things together for you so that hopefully you walk away from this with a slightly different perspective, especially if you considered yourself or have ever considered yourself a Christian, or you consider yourself or have ever considered yourself, hey, the Bible is worth looking at and the Bible is worth reading, and yes, I believe there is a way to God. I believe that we can walk around on this planet and be empowered by whatever God is, like literally whatever it is.